Hi, and welcome to the Happy Hustle Live show. Today, I am going to talk about Handmade at Amazon. It's something that we have just been talking about in my private mastermind group as one of my lovely VIP mastermindees has just been accepted for Handmade at Amazon. And we were just talking about the pros and cons and how you set yourself up there. So I thought I would just continue the conversation over here, not go into as much detail, obviously, but I just want to tell you about my thoughts on Handmade at Amazon. If you have a side hustle that sells a product, I suggest it's something that you consider. And you may or may not decide that is right for you, but I wouldn't write it off without looking at the pros and cons carefully. So let me start with the cons of selling at Handmade on Amazon. Sorry, hold on, I'm just realizing that I can't actually see the comments. Oh, here we go. Oh, hello, Debbie. Hey. So sorry, Debbie, the comments weren't there and then you just appeared. So yeah, let me just talk about the cons of selling at Handmade at Amazon. So Handmade at Amazon is regularly compared to Etsy. Etsy's been around for a lot longer, but obviously Amazon is a Goliath of an online selling platform. So it's not to be ignored. And Amazon Handmade is very, very new. So I meant to Google this actually before I came on to do these. It must be like 4 years at the most that it's been going. It might even be less than that. In the UK, certainly it was launched about a year before the UK and the US. So it's still very new on the block. And what sometimes people don't, hi Liz, hello again. Liz, you'll have heard some of this. Well, you'll have heard most of this because we've just talked about it in the mastermind group, but it's so lovely to see you. I'm so sorry about the rooms confusion. So yeah, I've realized that when I set up the event, it clicked into like being in a room, but that sounds exciting. I'm really excited that you all saw each other. I'm wondering, let me know if you want to do our Facebook Live tonight in a room where we could all just see each other. That would be great. Anyway, sorry, everybody else. I'll stop talking to Liz. Hi, Joanne. Brilliant. So Handmade at Amazon, people sometimes think is a completely separate website from Amazon, but it's not. So you can Google Handmade at Amazon and it will take you to, but it's just a subsection. It's just like a category on actual amazon.co.uk. So theoretically, if you search for personalized portrait on Amazon, the handmade listings will come up in the same way as the non-handmade listings will come up. But you can actually click into the category of handmade, so you're only searching through handmade things. Now, I should have had these in the right order because I just want to read out to you what specifically. So here is the definition of whether, how you determine whether you're allowed to sell on Amazon Handmade. So all products available in your Amazon Handmade store must be handmade, i.e. created, altered, or assembled entirely by hand and not from a kit. Products must be handmade by you, the artisan, or one of your employees, which isn't relevant to most people that have a side hustle. Sellers are unable to offer mass-produced products or products handmade by different artisans in the Amazon Handmade store. So that's really interesting because Amazon Handmade is genuinely all handmade things, or it should be. Etsy's supposed to be that, but a search of Etsy will show you that there are quite a lot of people selling things that look like they've just been bought from somewhere else to sell on, and that's more an eBay thing than an Etsy thing. That that there are different platforms to do that. So Handmade on Amazon is genuine artisan products, which is lovely, and it means that it could be a good home for your side hustle if you have a product-based side hustle. However, there are a couple of downsides to Handmade at Amazon or Amazon Handmade. It's called both. In America, it's called Handmade. It's not is it Handmade? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's called something slightly, so it's not Handmade at Amazon, it's Handmade on Amazon, or can't remember. Anyway, they call it HOA, so Handmade. I don't know, something on Amazon. Anyway, in the UK, they call it either Handmade at Amazon or Amazon Handmade. So there are a couple of drawbacks. One is the returns policy, right? Amazon is super, super generous with its returns policy. It's very accepting that people just change their mind and they just want to send something back. And that is why Amazon people love it. That's why people love shopping on it, because you know that Amazon is going to guarantee that you're not going to be ripped off, and you know that you can just return it if you don't want it. So the returns policy is to be celebrated, but also as a small side hustle seller, if you get, actually, ironically, when I was just doing the masterclass on Amazon Handmade in my mastermind group, I got a return. So I got an email that popped up to say, a seller has decided to return this. And actually, it was a refund claim, but I should read it out to you. Let me just read it out to you, because this is what can happen. So I can't really show it to you, but it says refund initiated for order and then order number. So this is from one of my FBA, and I'll tell you, for those of you that weren't on the masterclass, I'll tell you what FBA is in a minute. But it says, dear this jewellery, we have initiated a refund in the amount of £2.49 to Kathy Pitt for the following item. And it's a bracelet that she ordered from FBA. And the refund reason is missed fulfillment promise. So basically what's happened is that lovely lady has ordered one of my bracelets that is stored at Amazon, and is she's a Prime customer, selected to have it delivered next day, and Amazon have missed that delivery. And there's a whole load of reasons why they could have missed it. It might just be Royal Mail or, Amazon's delivery courier or whatever. But because they've missed it, that customer has obviously gone to Amazon and said, I'm not happy because this was supposed to come yesterday and it came today, and Amazon has refunded. It's a bit of a random amount, but Amazon would have refunded the whole amount if she'd wanted to return it at that point. But we'll come back to, because that's what Amazon has dealt with all of that whilst I was hanging about with all the people in my mastermind. So that's one of the pros, but I'll come back to that. So the returns policy, I think, is one of the cons, or one of the cons isn't maybe the right word, but one of the things you need to consider. The costs as well of selling on Amazon. It's free to list on Amazon. It's free to join Handmade at Amazon, but it is not free when you sell. So again, the costs, they vary, they change from time to time. I think at the moment it's 15%, but it's reduced to $12.74. I think I don't know if it's something to do with the VAT, or there's a slight subsidy at the moment, plus storage fees if you store any of your items at Amazon, which I'll come on to. But also, and I forgot to mention this in the masterclass, Liz, is there's also a monthly professional sellers plan, which is $39.99 a month. That technically you need to pay to sell on Amazon Handmade. However, that fee has been waived so it was waived initially for the first year that Handmade at Amazon launched, and then they've just kept on waiving it every single year since. So technically at any point they could say, we're going to bring this fee back in, but my experience is they have never done it. And if they did do it, at that point, you can just decide to stop selling. So don't let the fear of costs in the future put that off. But I did forget to say that. So, and it's just because I don't think about it anymore, because they always just waive it. But interesting. Okay, so the first one is returns, the second one is cost. The third one is, it is expensive, Debbie. But as I say, I've never paid that. The thing, and Debbie, the thing that we were just talking about in the mastermind, though, is Amazon fees are more expensive than Etsy, although they used to be a lot more, and Etsy have put their fees up significantly in the last year. Definitely more than Etsy, definitely more than eBay. However, and people have very different views about this, but when the majority of the world want to go and buy something, they'll do it on Amazon. They won't do it on eBay. They won't do it on Etsy. They'll do it on Amazon. So they can afford to have higher percentage fees. They're not flat fees, they're percentage fees, because they are bringing billions of customers to you. And that's the thing where if you find a website that has much lower fees, I guarantee you, well, obviously compared to Amazon, but they will have much, much, much lower amount of customers, which means your sales are likely to be much lower. So if you were to just build your own website, Debbie, and you say you knew how to do that and all you had to pay for was the hosting, so you're able to do it just maybe for like a few pounds a month or whatever, no one will find it. You'll still have to do loads of work in SEO. You'll have to do some advertising. You'll have to do some driving of traffic to your website, which will cost money. So although the fees do seem high, I think it's worth it because it's bringing the customers to you. And it just means you have to price properly and not just price at the bare minimum. You have to add on a good chunk on top of what you actually, what you think you need to sell your item for. So the third con is that Amazon is totally in control of your shop in the same way as Etsy is in control of your shop there, eBay is in control of your shop there, Facebook is in control of your shop there. Unless you have your own website, at any point, Amazon could just decide not to do Handmade anymore and close it down overnight. Or more likely, Amazon could say, you've had 3 strikes in your account, we're just shutting you down. Or what's happened recently for jewelry sellers is that there's a thing called reach documentation, which you need to check that if you're selling jewelry, you need to check your supplies. If you're selling jewelry in Europe, you need to check that your supplies comply with this reach documentation. But it's just about the chemicals and the nickel content and that sort of thing, so people don't get allergies. It's been there for a long time, but Amazon has recently decided that you have to show it for a random selection of jewelry. It's not even all my jewelry. And I've seen other sellers saying they've just picked a few random things and they've said, if you can't show us the reach documentation for this, we're going to delist it on, I think they said the 10th of August. So I'll be interested to see if they actually do, because there's been a massive backlash because they're not even accepting the reach documentation from suppliers. Anyway, I won't get into that. But the problem is that at any point, Amazon can change the goalposts because it belongs to Amazon. But so can Etsy, so can Facebook, so can Not on High Street, so can any of them. Marketing and advertising costs on Facebook is way more than $39.99. It is. And as I say, Debbie, they're not charging you $39.99. And although they keep saying it might come in the future, it hasn't. I should hold on. Let me just Google and see when Handmade at Amazon launched in the UK, because I should have done this first. But hold on. Because they said that it was only waived for the first year. So when I joined, so it launched in 2016. So yeah, it's been 4 years. So they said when it first launched, so I joined it probably, in fact, I had an application in to join it before it launched in the UK. So I was one of the first people on Handmade at Amazon. And they said, we're going to waive it for the first year because we realized £40 a month is quite a big, quite a big charge for just people with a side hustle, really, which is what a lot of people on Amazon is. And I thought, well, I'll join it for a year, and then, but if I'm not getting that many sales, I'm not paying £40 a month. But actually now I think I would quite happily pay £40 a month to stay on there with the amount of sales that I get. So, but yeah, you're right, Debbie, absolutely. If you want to drive that same amount of traffic for your website, you're talking about much more than £40 a month. The last con, I think, is that Amazon expects you to be available all the time. So for Amazon customer service is an absolute priority, and dispatching things very speedily is also an absolute priority. So you decide, when you set up on Amazon, you decide how long your turnaround time is. But Amazon will reward you for having a shorter turnaround time. So say your turnaround time is 2 to 3 days. If you have not bought your postage through Amazon or marked it as dispatched within that 2 to 3 days, you'll get like a black mark against your account. If you do not reply to a customer message within 24 hours, you'll get a black mark against your account. We call them like dings, a ding against your account. And Amazon aren't totally clear, but you can only have so many of those before. So you've got, when you sell on Amazon, you've got a thing called account health, and it'll tell you like whether it's happy with you or not. And they're much more strict about that in my experience than Etsy, or obviously on your own website, you decide that yourself. So those are the cons: the returns policy, the cost, the fact that Amazon can just pull your shop at any time, but so can all the providers, and the fact you have to be very responsive. So it's difficult. So you can put your shop in vacation. I think they still call it vacation mode even here. I might call it holiday mode, but I think they do call it vacation. Anyway, you can put your shop on holiday mode, and therefore your listings disappear off Amazon while you're on holiday. The slight challenge with that is, and you can do that on Etsy as well, the slight challenge is when you come back and you reactivate all your listings, they tend to have gone down in the rankings because they weren't selling for that amount of time and no one was clicking on them. And sometimes that can be difficult if you get something that's selling well to pull it from Amazon and then put it back on again. It doesn't always go back at the level that it was before. It can happen, but it doesn't always. So you do have to be careful with going in vacation mode. But I mean, sometimes you have to. It's better to be on vacation or holiday mode than to not fulfill orders, or like you don't do that. But what you could do is you could just extend your turnaround time. Say you were going away for a week. You could extend your turnaround time to say 10 days, and then you could just do all the orders when you get back and it would continue to sell. So anyway, going into a bit of detail there. So those are the cons, but the pros for selling on Amazon Handmade are, first of all, as we've already talked about, the audience. So everybody in the world shops on Amazon, or the majority of people shop on Amazon. They're all familiar with it. You do have people that want to avoid Amazon, and I get it, but if you want to go where the big audience is, you have to really, well, if you feel that Amazon might be for you, you have to kind of just go, okay, whether we agree with the global domination or not, it's an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing opportunity to have a handmade section on there. As I say, it's only 4 years old, so you would still be early adopters on there. Etsy's been going for a long time. There are people that have been selling on Etsy for a very long time. There's no one that's been selling on Handmade in Amazon UK for more than 4 years. So it's something worth considering. But the very best thing about selling on Handmade on Amazon is the fact that you can create, as long as they're not completely personalized, you can create items, handmade items, and you can take the pictures of them, create the listing, and you can box them up and you can send them in a big box to Amazon via UPS. And then you can just sit back and watch Amazon sell them for you through their Prime offering. And first of all, there's lots of customers that only shop with Prime filtered to on. So when your goods don't appear, where your products don't appear via Prime, they might not even ever see you. But so I was, forgive me, those of you that were on the masterclass, I was just saying, before I went on holiday last week, I went on a wee 2-day holiday. You probably heard me talk about it. But before I went away, on the 2 days before I went, I created a whole load of jewelry. I was due to kind of top up my Amazon stock. I put it all in a box and I drove it down to my UPS pickup point, which is just a little supermarket. It's a couple of miles from here. And I put it in, and as I was driving down, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be away for a couple of days, so I'm not really going to be able to make any money. You know, I'm not going to be able to make any jewelry or, you know, do any promotion while I'm away. But this is what was going through my head, but I really felt like I needed to take time off as well to become refreshed, which I did, and it worked out brilliantly. But I put that box into the supermarket, and as I was going in with the box, I worked out that it was worth £3,500 to me. So there was £3,500 worth of jewelry within that box that I have already made. I have no further hassle with. I'm just going to get on with it. Amazon are going to store that for me. Amazon are going to dispatch that for me. Amazon are going to handle any returns. They're going to deal with all the customer service. Amazon are going to take their fee. Now, there are additional fees for storage and for selling through FBA, but because I've priced my jewelry in a way that can absorb that, when I put that box in, that's it. And I just have to wait for so yeah, it was £3,500 net. So I'd worked out roughly what the charges are going to be on top of that. I now will and since then, when I was in the theme park last week, I'm getting email after email after email going, Amazon has dispatched this, Amazon has dispatched that, Amazon has dispatched this for you. So I cannot tell you how amazing that is. So it's lovely when you get an order in, just generally. So you know, an order pings through, you've got this lovely flexible lifestyle because your side hustle is generally online. Order pings through, you get out your stuff, you make whatever it is, and you post it off the next day, and that's great. It's so much more amazing when you just get an email to go, we've just sold this for you, and in a couple of weeks we'll put all the money together and we'll just pop it across in your account. Just amazing. It doesn't mean because you make it and send it to Amazon that will definitely sell, but with a bit of trial and error, you can work out what things do sell and what things don't. So what I do now is I top up all my good sellers, and there's stuff there that I don't really pay much attention to anymore. But once you get the ones that get traction and that sell, it's a money-making machine. And in terms of effort, because you can batch make all the stuff, it's just so easy. So pros and cons to selling on Amazon Handmade. Anybody can apply, but you have to be selected. It's not like Etsy where you just set up a shop and you go. It is something definitely worth considering. Google Handmade at Amazon, and you'll be able to see the actual section of Amazon and what gets sold there, but also that'll bring up the link to apply and all the information about it. So highly recommend it for a side hustle, particularly if you've got a busy day job. I can go, those 2 days are for making jewelry and those 3 days are for coaching or for business development or whatever. So yeah, it's such a lovely way to work at exactly your timetable, if that makes sense. So thank you all for coming along today. That's Handmade on Amazon in a nutshell. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you next Monday for episode 10. Right, take care, everybody. Bye.